through how to calculate molar mass. So in order to calculate molar mass, you need the compound, like the actual formula for the compound, and you also need a periodic table so you can get the individual weights of each individual atom, okay? So this is the way that we always set things up in class. We would list out how many moles of each atom we have within the compound, and then we would multiply it by a molar mass ratio. Okay, so I'm just going to follow through with this format. So I'm going to go through a couple different examples. So for this first one, we have fluorine, and if I look at my compound, I have 2 fluorine. So that means I have 2 moles of fluorine. Okay, and I'm just going to put this over 1 just to kind of simplify things. And 1 mole of fluorine, because remember, whatever unit is on the top is the unit that always goes on the bottom. 1 mole of fluorine, if I look at my periodic table, fluorine is up here in the top right corner. 1 mole of fluorine weighs 19 grams. Okay, and then from there, I just actually use a calculator and calculate that out. So 2 times 19, we end up getting 38 grams per mole of F2. Okay. Oops, and me later. Sorry about that. All right, so the next one, let's go through one that's a little bit trickier. And for this one, I'm actually going to go to the back side. Okay, so I'm going to actually look at calcium phosphate. Now, calcium phosphate, if you do not remember the formula for this, that's okay. You can always use Google to find these formulas. I know we have not talked about ionic bonding and polyatomics and all of that stuff in a very long time, okay? But you'll notice that this is a little bit more complex of a formula than fluoride is. So what we're going to do is we're first going to count how many atoms of each element are within this compound. So for calcium, we have 3 of them, so 3 moles of calcium. And if I look at my periodic table, 1 mole of calcium weighs 40.08. Oops, 08. Oh my goodness, I'm just completely going to rewrite that. Grams. And then I look and I have 2 phosphoruses. So 2 mole of phosphorus. And again, if I look at my periodic table, phosphorus, 1 mole of phosphorus weighs 30.97 grams of phosphorus, and calcium. We want to make sure we're labeling all these things. And then for oxygen, we multiply these numbers. So 2 times 4 is 8. So I have 8 moles of oxygen. And again, I just look at my periodic table. It looks like we have, for 1 mole of oxygen, that's 16 grams of oxygen. And then we just multiply all these out. Okay, so for this first one, I get 120.24 grams. 2 times 30.97, I end up with 61.94 grams. And then 8 times 16, I end up with 128 grams. Then we want to just add all of these together, and then that number will be our molar mass, and we get 310.18 grams per mole of calcium phosphate. Okay, so all we're doing here is we are looking at the periodic table, seeing how much each of these individual atoms weigh, and then we are adding all of that together.